Hey, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of Breaking Down the Game. I'm here with my good buddy Ihles, and we're going to talk about 5 topics related to the Green Bay Packers. And this is Bears Week, so it should be exciting. So, first of all, Ihles, how you doing, bud?
Pretty darn good, my friend. Ready to rock?
Let's get to it. First of all, I want everyone to please like and subscribe to the channel. And the links to our buddies in the Pack Attack are going to be in the description of this video. Please check them out. All right, so the first thing we want to talk about is the last word on the Minnesota Vikings game. Ihles, I'm going to throw it to you. What do you think?
Well, I think it was kind of a lot of what we expected, right? We knew that on last week's show, we kind of talked about there was going to be a little bit of unevenness with the offense. And although I didn't get actually to see the game, believe it or not, I was away on a work event, which is unfortunate, but I tried to do as much as I could to research and watch stuff. And I listened to some of the post-game interviews and stuff with some of the players to get a vibe. And it really seemed like that's kind of what happened out there. A lot of early mistakes. A lot of the starters, I think, take it as more of a preseason type game. Seeing a lot of different things, trying based on defense, and maybe you could help out, explain even to me for other people to understand. But the way that the defensive scheme was, it almost seemed like how they set up to kind of combat what the Vikings threw at them was maybe kind of a new scheme for some of people, and people were a little bit out of place. I know you did a video on that, but maybe describe that a little bit about what you saw.
Yeah, well, the first point I want to make is, Bud, you got to get your priorities straight. I don't know why you weren't watching
Trust
the
me.
game.
I know.
The Packers, I don't understand this concept. So that's number one. And number two, you haven't watched my damn video. So get on that. So, there's been a lot about the game, and I watched the game and the highlights and watched some film of it. Defensively, they were just totally discombobulated. In my video, I talked about how I don't think it's the scheme at second look.
Yeah.
Especially in the defensive backfield, everyone was totally out of position. They were taking bad angles. They were getting turned around. They just executed like crap. So the last thing I want to say about this whole game is that is entirely disappointing, but the Vikings held serve. They won in their stadium, and they don't have any right to talk any bullshit to us until the second game, right? If the Vikings happen to pull a victory out of their ass and beat the Packers the second game in Lambeau, well, then I'll take some crap talk. But right now, that's it.
I was just talking with my son, and he subscribes to a local news station here in Minnesota or Minneapolis. And one of the things he saw that he was mentioning was they were talking about after the game, Vikings beat Packers handily, and then Super Bowl ?
Oh, jeez.
It's a little early to start that crap.
That's just nauseating. Nauseating. Tell me, what is your guttural reaction to that?
Yeah, there's 16 games to go. Injuries can happen so early in the season. You don't know who's who yet. You have not seen who the real Packers will be, I don't think, until week 3, week 4, when things really start to come together. So it's just crap. It's the same crap around here. They're just trying to get some hype going, but it's still ridiculous. Yeah. Shows how their sports IQ is like nil. You know what I mean? Like you said, my friend, sweet liquor eases the pain, right?
That's right. And Ihles, what are you drinking tonight? A nice Pinot?
Yeah, I figured I'm watching all these HPOV videos, and that's not really me. I'm more of a wine guy, but he inspired me to bring some kind of juice to the video, so that's what I'm doing tonight.
And he certainly does that. So do the other guys from the Pack Attack. So
yeah,
I don't think we want to dwell on the Viking game anymore. It's just interesting to talk about it because we happen to live in the area and we see what people are day to day. So the next topic, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, I just had one last question on that for you, just because I did not see the game and it's interesting to get your perspective on it. Is from an offensive perspective, could you try to see what Packers were going for as an identity? Was it a lot of the two back sets and throwing screens to those guys, or and trying to mix in obviously the deep ball? I saw that Watson miss, which is painful. Or what were they trying to be? Did it look any different from last year?
I don't know. Go watch the highlights, bud. We're moving on.
Okay.
No, I to be honest, they didn't run the two back sets as much as I would have liked. It's pretty obvious right now at this point in the year that their running backs are the stars of the offense, and they really have to feed them the ball more. In my opinion, they need to get about 35 touches each game, at least for the beginning part of the season until the wide receivers really get gelling together. But, it's a work in progress. We knew this was going to happen, and that's exactly how it played out. So
okay, good to know.
Yeah. So with that said, enough of the effing Vikings.
Yep, I would agree. Yep.
So we're going to move on to the next topic, which is, Brett Favre's a dick.
He is a dick. He's a crooked dick.
Yeah. So, to our listeners, I don't know how much you have seen in the news how Brett Favre is mixed up in this scandal in the state of Mississippi where they misappropriated some welfare funds to Brett Favre and other people. So basically they were taking money out of the pockets of people in Mississippi who really need it, and they were funneling it to projects and things that Brett Favre was interested in. So I'd like to just read a quick snippet of an article that I saw today. These text messages basically was showing that Brett Favre was complicit in receiving about $1.1 million to do some public service announcements for the state of Mississippi that he never did. Brett Favre has since given that money back, and the state is actually suing him for interest on the money, on the funds that he received for the time he had it. So that's an ongoing lawsuit. And within this lawsuit, these text messages were revealed as part of a subpoena. One of the most damning things that I saw that was in the text messages was, I'm going to cut this shit out, Ihles. I'm going to edit it. Sorry.
Don't cut it out. This is the good shit, the silence.
Oh, the silence. I thought I had it all lined up.
It doesn't matter.
The quotes and everything.
Everybody's human. This is the good shit. Another thing that's my favorite in that article is it's not going to Brett Favre. It's going to Favre Enterprises.
You need to say that once I throw it to you. Okay. I had it all lined up, buddy. God damn it. Okay. Say it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that over. Just in the article, the text that Brett Favre sent, that was the most damning, came out. And what Brett Favre texted was, if you were to pay me, is there any way the media could find out where it came from and how much? To me, what that says is he knew exactly what was happening, and he was worried about the media attention it might draw. What do you think, Ihles?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's funny that you bring that up. I read the same article, obviously, and that was the number one thing that stuck out to me, as well as like we talked about the Favre Enterprises is where the money went to, and just the fact that I kept going through my mind too about like the guy has made so much money. We're talking about 1.1. Does he really need to go to this like dirty kind of length to take money, $1 million, which I'm sure he could afford to do, to help his daughter basically build a volleyball stadium or whatever and contribute to it on his own behalf? But instead he's going to try to sneak money out of this welfare fund for the state. And then on top of it, I think that, if I remember right, that money was supposedly, like in tax records or something, said that he received it for doing some speeches, which is ridiculous as well. And he wasn't even found to have done those speeches. So it's not like he even went and did anything for this money. It just seems completely corrupt, much like when he went to the Vikings, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he took over $1 million to do some speaking work that he never did. And then he used $5 million of the state's money to funnel to a project in his best interest to build a volleyball stadium at the university. But you hit the nail on the head right now. One of his biggest crimes he had was going to the Vikings after leaving the Packers.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same kind of crap, right? Like, I still can't believe to this day that he would do something like that. Same thing when you read that article. Same thought goes through my head. Clearly, like you say here, Brett Favre is a dick.
He is a dick.
Yeah.
And he has sent a picture of his to that lady when he spent time with the New York Jets.
Yep.
He is just he's just a dick.
Yep.
He's an evil dude if he's stealing money from welfare recipients in the state of Mississippi for his own purposes. He is evil, but not as evil as Darren Sharper.
Yeah.
That's
Probably not that bad. Probably not that bad. That is a name I haven't thought of for a while, but I would agree. Or James Lofton, right?
James Lofton had a run-in with some Green Bay police, but that was so long ago. That might have been. I don't remember that one.
there was another guy with James Lofton. I can't remember who it was.
There was Mossy Cade back in the day.
Mossy Cade. Oh my gosh, that's good.
And he was accused of raping his aunt. And funny, this all happened when he was a Minnesota Viking.
Yeah, of course.
Coincidence?
No.
I don't think so.
No, it's not. Super Bowl? Question mark?
Super Bowl? Yeah, so, Brett Favre is a dick. There's no other way to say it. We'll move on. I want to focus on Bears week for a moment. The Bears are real rivals. The Green Bay Packers and the Vikings are not at the level of rivalry as the Packers and the Bears. Simple as that.
Yep.
Ihles, tell me, what does this Bears-Packers rivalry mean to you?
I mean, I definitely think that when I was growing up, it had a lot more. Like, I remember the Walter Payton days. I've actually went to a football game and saw Walter Payton, and it just seemed like in those days to us growing up in that Packer era, like it was almost nearly impossible. I mean, it took the Chester Markle drugged out field goal miracle to win one game, right? And then the Bears still suck game was one of the greatest of all time. I believe that was before instant replay, or right when instant replay started, and they called a touchdown at the very end of the game and a win, and that was the Bears still suck saying started at that moment. And that's almost about when the tide turned. But obviously since then, it's been a pretty good ride. I mean, Favre the Dick owned them for so many years, and Rodgers just picked up right where he left off. And it's a rare occasion. And you look at that game with Favre, the one with with Rodgers, where his leg got hurt and he came back at half. I mean, we all know that game, right? It's a thing of beauty. And then last year, I own you. I love that stuff, right?
That was the greatest.
Yeah. So, I mean, I gotta be honest, like lately, it doesn't mean quite as much to me because I just kind of feel like they're our bitch, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, the last 30 or so years. And, I tell you, I have a lot of the same memories you have from the 70s and 80s. Walter Payton was an amazing talent, and to see him play live at Lambeau Field was really cool now that we think about it. But obviously the middle of the 80s, the Bears were riding high with Ditka and everything. And they just were miles ahead of the Packers at that time. They turned the tide, and as you said, we've owned them for the last 30 years. But still, divisional games are always tough. I don't care how bad the Bears are. They do put up a fight. And we've had some years where the Bears have surprised us.
Yep.
But the games always end up a thing of legend. The game you just talked about with Rodgers breaking his leg and coming back to win the game, that game's going to go down in history in Packers lore forever. I mean, people are going to be talking about that game. And before you know it, there's going to be 500,000 people who said they were at that game.
Exactly right.
It's kind of a play out. But
what about the game too, the Cobb one, right?
Yes.
The one where the bomb to Cobb.
That's right.
Wide open. Yeah, that game as well.
The last game of the year for the Packers to win the division to get into the playoffs. So obviously, and let's not forget to mention the NFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl in 2010.
Yeah, freezing cold, Soldier Field.
And Packers had, and we smacked them in the teeth. So we have a lot of fond memories the last 32 years. Their games are always great, and they, like I said, they are our true rival. And
I would agree.
Vikings fans can cry and cry and whine as much as they want. They're not our real rival. The Bears are.
Yep.
So,
I would agree.
Speaking of that game, what is one key to this Bears game, and who wins the game?
That's a great question. I would say I definitely think the Packers are going to win this week. I think you're going to see them sharpen the
knife. And I'm gonna insert a little clip here.
Hopefully, please do. Yeah, sharpen the. Oh my God.
Okay, the first thing they have to practicing that we call sharpening the knife. Okay, very important.
Okay.
So the whole key is very simple. You get the oil, we call the baby oil.
Baby oil, okay.
And you put it in. And now you put the peanuts, you warm it. In the cold winter, you warm them up. You get a hot towel.
Okay.
And you make it warm.
Okay.
And you put it here. Make sure all the blood flow.
Okay.
Okay. Now you get the peanuts out.
Yeah.
You pull the skin. A lot of people, they never circumstances.
Yeah.
So they have the skin. So you pull the skin and you get the oil in the hand and you rub. Hand go like this. You rub. Especially on the gland peanuts. Rub them. 50 times, rest.
Okay.
Because you make them strong and not sensitive.
Okay. 50 times.
50 times one right side, 50 times left side, 50 times front, 50 times back, 50 times down.
That's like a lot. Okay. How often am I?
What you saw on TV, we had to cut this thing out. Oh my God. I can't get the guy out of my mind.
They're going to sharpen the knife. What do they need to do to sharpen the knife, bud?
They need 50 stroke down. That's what they need to do. All right. Okay, like you did. All right, we got to dial it back in. All right, here we go. I think basically one of the keys to the game is I do think that the Fields guy probably had a year to kind of, I just saw the look on your face there, but a year to kind of mature into the offense and be an NFL quarterback. And I do think that kid is going to be, trouble over the years. Like I thought when he was at Ohio State, as much as I despise Ohio State, he's a pretty legit quarterback because he's one of those guys that can run, but he's really more pass first. But when he runs, he's trouble. And I think having an effective spy game on him to make sure that we kind of keep him in the pocket and make him be a pass first quarterback without him exploding for long runs and extending drives is going to be the key defensively for that game. And then number two, I think another key, like on the offensive side, just based on like how I've come to understand what happened this week, is really to get the passing game going a little bit more. We need the downfield pass, at least a couple. Like that sounds like, Rodgers hits that first one to Watson, it kind of lengthens the field a little bit to make the back set not be so tight. Because what I don't want to see happen is people not respecting our passing game, because we got all these new guys. They're putting a bunch of defensive people in the box to stop our backs, and then we still can't get something there. I think the Bears don't have that great of a backfield, good cornerbacks. I know they drafted one, I believe. I can't remember what the kid's name was, but I think he's pretty good. But last year they were not very good. So there's no way that we can't find somebody open in this ball game. So I think stretching the field to make the backs give them a little bit more space to operate, and establishing the run is going to be key.
Okay.
One other thing too is I think Mason Crosby has to have a big game. We need to get the special teams cooking. I saw that one goes out to HPOV right there because he mentioned that. So, but I do agree. I think you said something as well about that special teams was a non-factor either way in the game. But it'd be good to get them some confidence early and have something good happen there.
Yeah. So what I recently read is the special teams were 16th in the NFL in special teams ranking for week 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big improvement.
Yeah.
As sad as it is, that's a big improvement. And we look for Mason Crosby to hit a few key field goals.
Yeah.
So I was very much agreeing with a lot of what you said about Justin Fields. I think he's going to be better than he's shown us the first part of his career. And I think one of the keys to the game is containing him. I think containing him on the edges is what we're going to look for.
Yep.
So that means Preston and Gary need to be disciplined. Don't get out of position chasing him down, and just make sure you set that edge and play with your feet underneath you. So I think that's a big key to the game. You want to force Fields to the middle of the field where you have help with tackles. I don't know if the Bears have many more weapons outside of Fields. To be honest with you, I'm hard pressed to even think of one of their wide receivers.
Yeah.
So that kind of explains to you where they are in their franchise, how they're building their offense. They're nowhere where they need to be. So the Packers just have to contain Fields, and I expect our offense to carry them the rest of the way. So yep. I also think the Packers will win. I have a feeling they're going to win big.
Yep.
I don't like to predict scores because predictions are like buttholes. Everyone has one and they all stink, right? An old saying I got from a shop teacher way back. Do kids even have shop these days anymore?
No, they don't.
Yeah, we're Gen X. So
yeah.
The young people of today, you got to step it up and toughen up, bud.
Yep. You need to lose a finger in shop class before you can join this podcast.
Yeah, that's right. You got that right. So, talking about the game, one last subject I'd like to bring up, and I want to thank your son for bringing this topic up. He's a really smart, cool guy, and I love him to death. Stud Twins prediction for week 2. What I mean by stud twins is let's pick 2 Packers each who we think are going to be absolute studs this week. I'll let you go first, Ihles.
Should we both go offense, defense? Do you want to do it that way, or what do you want to do?
You pick whatever stud you want. If you want to pick a gunner from special teams, go for it, man.
Yeah. I think that my first pick is going to be, this is going to surprise you, but I would say Christian Watson.
Okay.
I do. I think that he seems like a competitive kid. From all the stuff that I read, I'm sure it's been a long week for him with that deal. And it sounds like after the missed pass, they kind of went away from him for a while. But the dude has some wicked speed. And the way, so if a ball comes his way, he's not dropping it. And again, kind of going back to our previous point about the Bears game, number 4. I think that their cornerback situation isn't like they got some huge studs. I think that he's going to find some space and he's going to make a couple big plays to get that confidence under his belt. Because we need that speed to open up the field. So I'm going with Christian Watson. I'm pulling for this guy.
That's awesome. Well, I'll go with my first one, and then I'll let you take your second one.
Yep.
My first stud of the game is going to be Quay Walker. I heard some news today that he was out practicing, so that really bodes well for his shoulder injury. So I expect him to be out on the field. If he's out on the field, I expect him to be a stud. One thing I mentioned with Higher Point of View is that when he was playing against the Vikings and he was in, you could almost like feel his presence because he has such amazing speed for a linebacker and he's such a sure tackler. He hits people and they stick and they go down. When you have a quarterback like Justin Fields, who may be running for his life all over the place, you need a speedy linebacker to come in to scrape in and put that quarterback down. So that goes hand in hand with one of my keys to the game, which was our outside linebackers funnel him to the inside where Quay and DeAndre can just feast. They got to, because they're hungry. They got to eat. So who's the second stud you're picking?
I think on defense, I want to see if what you just described, kind of containing the box, forcing them to the pass. I'm kind of looking for a man after last year with a little bit of injury that I want to see Alexander get a nice pick. Yeah, and really get into the mix. Yeah, we need to get Ja going, right? And as soon as that happens, if he picks something off too every time because of his speed and his agility and stuff, he's always a possibility for a pick six and a defensive score that really can set the tone of the game. And so it'd be good to see him get started this year as well.
Yeah, and one of the great things about him is that dude has some swagger, man.
Oh, yeah.
And I can only imagine he's like a grade A smack talker. He can talk trash with the best of them, I bet.
We should wear white glasses.
Oh, God, yeah. I wonder where he gets them.
We're never going to look that cool, but I would still do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just to support him, because every time I see that kid, he's got those on lately. He looks amazing. Yeah.
I love that guy too. So we got to find where he gets them. Hopefully we can pick him up at like the
Walmart
corner Speedway or something, right?
Yeah.
Feel cheap, but maybe we'll surprise the audience in the coming weeks with that.
Yep.
That's a great choice, Ihles. I love Ja and I love his game, and I think he's going to be a stud too. For my second pick, I am going to go one of the running backs. So I am going to go with Aaron Jones this week. The reason I'm going to slightly give the nod to Jones over Dillon is that I like Jones' quickness as a receiver. Don't get me wrong. I love Thunder Dillon and the Quad Father. That guy is awesome, has great hands, and is a great receiver too. But there's just something about Jones' shiftiness, his ability to slither in and out of tight holes, and also bring some lumber when he needs to, right? So that is going to be my second stud pick of the week.
That's a solid pick. I do think that those two have got to have some kind of internal competition too.
Yeah.
You can almost see that. It's a good competition, a healthy competition, but you've seen in games last year where they bring Dillon in, he has a good set of downs and he's making big plays, and Jones is like chomping at the bit, like put me back in because I got to one up him, So I like that pick a lot, actually.
Yeah, they could do something. I know Aaron Jones has like the sombrero he wears, which is badass. I love that.
It is.
Like if they had something like that to pass back and forth based on, production or something, that would be a lot of fun, and it would be some friendly competition. So it's going to be a really fun week of football. I can't wait to watch this game Sunday night. We're going to get on a golf course this weekend.
Yeah, we are.
For sure.
Yep.
And get home, get some food, and watch the game. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I very much look forward to talking to you next week about
Yeah.
this. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thanks to all my subscribers. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure you check out the Pack Attack, Higher Point of View, Big Nate, AJ, Packer Fan in Vegas, and KHTV. Get on those channels because they have great content too. And I think each of us in the Pack Attack brings something completely different. In the coming weeks, we hope to get a few special guests on to do some interviews. I know the Pack Attack guys are all for it, and we may bring in some other people as we go along. So please share the podcast. Is this really a podcast, Chad? What do you call this? A YouTube video podcast?
Yeah, it's kind of like a podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we're going to call it The Pod. It's a podcast breaking down the game.
Sharpen the knife.
Friends and family. So thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good one. Go Pack.
Go Pack.